And welcome back. I am Stefan Hurdle, and as Alan mentioned, I am here with another interview, and this time we are here with the one and only Jeremy Rawle. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, so for you guys that may not know Jeremy, what would you say your claim to fame is, Jeremy?
Oh, man. I guess my claim to fame would be talking people into doing things that they shouldn't be doing on bikes and other contraptions.
Yeah, that's putting it really mildly at like an extreme level. Jeremy, you are one of the creators of one of my favorite shows and one of my favorite things that even exists in the world, the Nitro
man.
Circus. I am a huge fan.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I guess some people give me credit and some people give me blame for being one of the founders of Nitro Circus.
Oh man, it's all credit, all credit, all credit. You guys have put together such an amazing production, and it started as a really simple kind of grassroots thing. And I'm curious, like how did you even what path did you find to get to where you guys are now?
Man, that's a big question. I certainly never set out thinking I'm going to start something like the Nitro Circus. That was just like one of those left turns that you take.
Right.
I'm actually an attorney by education.
How on earth does an attorney get to the idea of, or we're going to send some guys off these monster ramps on dirt bikes and see how many flips they can do?
Well, you know, as fate would have it, I'm a horrible attorney.
Thank God.
No, but I mean, I grew up before there was like X Games and before there were really, I guess, venues and events that kind of formalized action sports and all this type of stuff. You know, I grew up with a good friend of mine, a guy named Greg Godfrey, who's one of the other founders of the Nitro Circus, and he and I he was a bike guy and I was a skier, and we would film each other doing stupid stuff. Back when the first handheld cameras came out, they were,
yeah,
you carry these things on your shoulders.
Yeah, running around with a giant VHS. Yeah.
So we'd just take those tapes home and plug them through the TV and watch them and laugh, and never thinking it would lead into what we actually ended up doing.
But so in a way, there's some similarities with kind of how we've found ourselves here at the Handbuilt Show, which is you just kind of start off following something that you really enjoy, hanging out with your friends, doing cool shit, stuff. And after a while, it kind of catches on. You get a little bit of momentum, and people start to realize what's happening, and it can kind of catch like wildfire. And I think that's totally what happened for you guys.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. I think that, you know, if you do something that strikes a chord with people, and they can connect to it, then it builds momentum. You almost have to kind of screw it up for it to not build momentum. But when you kind of hit into a vein of something that moves people, you know, whether it's, you know, love for bikes or love to see people smash themselves doing crazy stuff, then you know, you kind of, I mean, those things kind of take off.
Yeah. And you guys were starting out, and it was seriously like you were just selling like literal VHS dub tapes out of a trunk of your car, if I remember this story at all.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the trunk of my car, but it was in my garage near the trunk of my car. You know, the first kind of form of entertainment that the world would see from Nitro Circus was DVDs, and we actually sold our fair share of VHS tapes. It's that long ago. It's like 2003. But yeah, I was selling straight to home videos out of my garage.
And the other thing I really appreciate is that you guys are all pretty like kind of hands-on and homegrown. You don't just like go and spend a bunch of money and just bring in the best guys that already do this.
Yeah.
You are developing your own equipment, you're developing your own systems, you're developing your own plan and your own process.
Yeah.
And you also are willing to put your money where your mouth is, and you'll put your life on the line for some of these stunts.
Well, so we kind of had a rule. So Greg Greg Godfrey and I kind of shared the directorial role, and it's pretty, it's a big thing when you're asking somebody to put their life on the line, and in many cases we really are asking them to put their life on the line. And so we kind of developed a rule that one out of every 7 stunts we would have to do ourselves, and that kind of turned out to be the right ratio where our athletes and our personalities could maintain respect, and they, if we didn't do that, they could turn around and just say, hey, don't you ask me to do that. I mean, who are you? But if you are willing to step up every now and again, then you commanded a lot more respect with these guys.
You have to maintain that respect. If you can't walk the walk, you better not talk the talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's great, because I think all too often, like some projects end up with like a big money guy behind the scenes, and they just splash the cash around to make it happen, and then at the end of the day, everything's kind of, it's okay, but it's not great. When you have that kind of connection and respect, it creates much more of a family environment, and I get the sense from watching Nitro Circus that you guys are a family, and that your team is really kind of integrated with each other, and I feel like our team is trying to follow that same path.
Yeah, I definitely, when I come here and see the show, and I've met, having met you guys before on some previous trips to Austin, I definitely recognize that with your crew, and it's something that I recognize immediately and I can connect with, because I'm like, okay, yeah, they have the same, they share the same thing that we do.
I just want to bounce back real quick on some of the stunts. Like, do you have any that are particularly memorable, either like were super fun and awesome, or just horribly wrong?
Well, both. One of a couple of the guidelines, or kind of our guiding principles, you would say, is like, if we're going to show something, it has to do one of 2 things. One, it either you need to bust a gut laughing, or 2, your jaw's going to drop. And if it didn't, like when we were in post-production and editing, if it didn't hit one of those 2 categories, then it didn't make it in. So we have a lot of stuff. But, some of the stunts that are really memorable to, whoa, just spilled some water here. Sorry about
beverage
that, guys.
Malfunction.
But anyways, one of the stunts that really freaked me out, and I still kind of sweat when I think about it today, is when we had Travis Pastrana backflip his motorcycle between 2 high-rise buildings in downtown East LA. And what was really kind of scary about that is that he didn't have enough run in, and he certainly didn't have enough run out to make it like you comfortable about this stunt.
Right.
Not that you can be comfortable about this stunt at all, but we were so nervous about it that we actually created kind of like an old school human. It was like think about an aircraft carrier catching somebody through a net or something.
Yeah, the cable stops on an aircraft carrier.
We had kind of like a human cable stop for Travis, so he wouldn't go off the other side of the building when he landed. And it turns out his stopping was fine. He almost didn't go long enough, and that would have been equally as fatal.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings up a different question for me, and that, like, I'm an engineer, and I like math, and I like to know how stuff works. There's no way to know how that stuff works exactly, so what process is there to kind of figure it out? Do you guys do some level of calculation?
Well, we call it nitro physics.
Okay.
And it ain't exactly, probably up to your snuff.
But, I mean, there's a little bit of physics, and kind of trying to take into account the angle and velocity and how far things are.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a blend between some things you have to kind of rely on intuition and feel, and in the case of our athletes and personalities, these guys, they're really good at what they do. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to smash themselves. I mean, that's not our show. That's Jackass.
I think that's YouTube.
But so some stunts are intuition, feel. Other stunts, we have really kind of nailed down the physics and crunched the numbers. We jumped a school bus a couple hundred feet one time over a gap, and we actually had that one kind of mapped out, is that we had to hit it at a certain speed, we had the weight of the bus and the weight of all the individuals in the bus. Everything was kind of calculated. The only problem with that is we were having trouble getting the bus to get to the speed, the optimal speed that it was supposed to hit in order to hit that. So
now, as a producer, when you got pretty much your entire cast in the bus for one stunt that may or may not go correctly, how do you deal with that stress? Or were you on the bus?
I was not in the bus on that one. They didn't put a spot. That one we had to plan ahead, and I didn't get a spot in that bus. But I'm kind of glad about that one. But no, I mean, it's like, I think some parents have rules that, or businesses have rules that you can't put the whole company on the plane. You got to split them up.
Right.
Yeah, we probably should have thought about that one a little bit more on that one.
Well, I'm really glad that you guys didn't put that much thought into this stuff, because I think if you thought about it, you probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And I really have enjoyed watching all of the stuff that you guys have done over the years. I would say that it has inspired me, but no, it really hasn't. It's terrified me. I'm amazed and blown away by the athletes that you guys have. I'm amazed also at the kind of the growth that your organization has had. Starting from grassroots, now you guys are running a multinational tour of extreme sports live in multiple cities. So what do you guys have running right now?
Well, I would have never, once again, I didn't plan on this company kind of taking off the way it did, this brand, and I certainly didn't plan on where it's at now. You just kind of take advantage of the opportunity when it comes. But yeah, right now, I mean, Nitro Circus it's a global brand. Kind of the big sectors of entertainment are, of course, we still do a lot of media. We have a lot of television, a lot of digital media. But there's also the live touring side, which, it's choreographed stunt shows in big indoor arenas. We also do more kind of outdoor regional shows where, man, we're selling out, or Madison Square Garden, or, a lot of the big arenas around the world. So, yeah, it's kind of grown in a direction I never thought, even imagined.
And it's just, I don't know, it's really cool to see a normal, ordinary person has a dream, catches a little bit of fire, fans the flames just right, and the next thing you know, it's a global phenomenon. So, fingers crossed, maybe we can just brush off a little bit of that luck for what we were up to here, and we can keep growing the Handbuilt Show. We know a bit about what production's like.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what you guys are up against. You must have such an outrageous fleet of vehicles and all this stuff to make it happen, but incredible stuff. You guys were here at the Handbuilt Show last night, and it sounded like you had some fun.
Yeah, I walk in here, and I'm kind of overwhelmed. It's amazing what you guys have done with this. I mean, all the bikes, the different styles of bikes, the kind of different eras and everything that's in here, and also I do look behind the curtain because, I've been involved with big production, so I know what's going on. It's so much work doing this, but yeah, we're having a blast. I can't stop looking, walking around. I've done several laps.
Yeah. It's kind of wild to get this many people in one place there's just so much raw talent with the builders and so much time and passion that's gone into every one of the bikes, and to have you guys be able to come down and join us for it, we're really grateful. And I know that you also are doing another project with video, kind of highlighting some craftsmen and people that are kind of working with their hands and doing really neat stuff.
Yeah.
Anything noteworthy there?
That's definitely a passion project of mine. I mean, I'm not happy unless I'm in production on something that is interesting to me. So I've produced and directed, a digital content series. You can find it on YouTube. It's called Spirit Pilots, and it's on makers, it's on craftsmen, it's on artisans who are doing things that I think are super inspiring.
Yeah, like making custom hats in the same tradition of the old days.
Yeah,
with absolute precision and creativity and uniqueness and just incredible detail.
Yeah, we've done that hat piece. A guy named Chandler Baird Scott. His company's called Tat & Baird, but you described it well. We've done Cooper's Forge, who is a piece on him. He's a blacksmith out of San Antonio.
I still haven't made it down to visit with him, but I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to it, because looking at some of the photos of his work, it is truly incredible. And just, I don't know that much about the real process of blacksmithing. I got the general gist of the theory, right? Make
Yeah.
the metal hot, smash on it with a hammer.
Right.
I think there's a little more to it.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, I mean, it's very similar to what you know, these bike builders are doing. What you guys are doing is that you're putting in, you know, you're doing something with your hands. In many ways, I kind of like the stuff that is somewhat primitive. I mean, you know, using raw materials, you know, Earth's resources, and building something out of it. I mean, there's a lot of high-tech stuff here too, but I kind of like the back to basics kind of elements of people doing really remarkable things.
Awesome. Well, I know that there's a lot of show to see, and I know that you guys had a really good time last night.
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep you guys from enjoying your time here in Austin. And we really look forward to seeing you around in Austin, hanging out at some of our events, and there's good things to come. So look forward to what's next for you. And I think we've got some more clips for the Handbuilt Show. Look forward to seeing you guys coming up soon. I think I've got one more interview tonight. Awesome. Can't remember who it is, but it'll be great.
Thank you.